From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
In the words of a Verizon commercial, can you hear me now? Good. Maybe? Excellent. There we go. Let's try this show again, shall we? Another day of hazy skies here in Metro Detroit with an air quality alert extended through tonight. The smoke from wildfires in Canada still wafting into the Midwest. Forewarned meteorologist Ashley Barris will have a look at your forecast with the work week in just a bit. And you're looking live at Detroit right now, Romulus and Ann Arbor for a reason. These three right here. Over our next 2 hours, we're going to do a deep dive into tomorrow's election. So this hour, we're going to talk the Detroit mayoral race, major Wayne County bond proposals, and a Washtenaw County proposal about money for community policing. As we mentioned, it is Decision 2025, so think of this show as your own personal voter's guide ahead of tomorrow's primary election. Let's start in Detroit so you can see all of the haze forcing those air quality issues, but we're going to talk about the most consequential mayoral races in some time. 9 candidates are vying to take over for Mayor Mike Duggan. He is running for governor as an independent. The top 2 vote getters tomorrow will advance to the general election. So let's take it to the candidates. Mary Sheffield is the current city council president. She has been on the council for more than a decade. Chantel Jenkins is the former president of the Detroit City Council and more recently was the CEO of the nonprofit Thaw, that's the Heat and Warmth Fund. Solomon Kinlock is the pastor of Triumph Church with campuses throughout Metro Detroit. Fred Durhall is a member of Detroit City Council and is a former state lawmaker. James Craig, the former police chief of Detroit and is the only declared Republican. Todd Perkins is a longtime attorney in Detroit, specializing in criminal and civil litigation. Joel Hassim is a retired businessman who started his career with party stores and then became a wholesaler and distributor. Jonathan Barlow is an entrepreneur with a background in the tech industry. And Danetta Simpson is a 2-time mayoral candidate who says she is a lifetime resident of Detroit. This morning, we want to hear from those candidates about what's important to them. Only 4 of them pulled high enough to qualify for our Local 4 debate back in June. We're going to bring in those closing statements from Mary Sheffield, Chantel Jenkins, James Craig, and Solomon Kinlock.
Detroit, you inspire me every single day, and it has been an absolute honor to serve in this city. I have been here with you, alongside you, fighting for you, whether it's in the streets, boots on the ground, connecting and empowering, or in the suites, passing policies and programs that directly impact your quality of life. We have accomplished so much, but we do know that there's still so much more that we can do together. Imagine a Detroit where housing is affordable, where our educational system is strong, where our neighborhoods are walkable and vibrant, where safety is a right and not a privilege, and where economic opportunities are within reach for every Detroiter. That's the Detroit that I believe in, that I'm fighting for. And with your vote, we can and we will get it done. So let's get to work, Detroit.
Ms. Jenkins.
Thank you for being here tonight. In order to have the Detroit that we all dream of, we have to have a leader who is experienced, prepared, and committed to doing the work. So the choice is clear. If you want a future that includes more guns in schools, locking up our kids, Craig is your guy. If you want a part-time mayor who's working 2 full-time jobs, Kinlock is ready. If you want a mayor who shows up on Instagram but doesn't show up for meetings, then follow Mary. But if you want a mayor who is committed to this city and will continue the progress that Mayor Duggan has brought to this city over the past decade, then keep thinking Jenkins. I am Santil Jenkins. I've worked in nonprofit, for-profit, business, and education. Thank you.
Mr. Craig?
The gloves are off now. Let's party. No, I'm okay with that. Because all of you know, first and foremost, I'm a Detroiter. I love this city. Both times that I lived here, I lived in the city of Detroit. I could have moved anywhere, but I stayed. And when I left service, I stayed. I'm a public servant, and I am not a politician. I'm not going to tell you something for a feel good. I'm going to tell you how it is. And I did it as your chief, and many of you know that about me. I have, unlike my colleague, a proven track record of success. Now, let me tell you what a proven track record of success looks like. Executive level leadership. And let's not forget, a mayor has to be able to effectively handle a crisis. Let's think about 2020. Detroit City.
Time.
Okay.
Mr. Kinlock.
Some of my opponents tonight evidently have forgotten that construction does not happen by destruction, that you cannot build yourself up by tearing other people down. That's why we need a different type of leadership. I'm grateful tonight that we've had an opportunity in order to discuss the issues that are relevant to the citizens and the residents of this city. And I'm looking forward to the opportunity over the next 7 weeks that I'm going into every city council district holding my own forums, because I'm not interested in kissing the rings of individuals who believe that they got the right to talk on behalf of people, but I'm gonna talk to the people. Two things we need to know. Number one, what are we building in Detroit? And two, who can we trust to get it done? Lift every block with Ken Locke.
All right, so those are the four, again, that in polling qualified for our Local 4 debate. We're going to take a short break here. When we get back, Jason put together a roundtable on Flashpoint to discuss the Detroit mayoral race. They talk about a lot, including the candidate they think might surprise everyone and come in second tomorrow night. Welcome back to Local 4 Live. We continue to discuss Detroit's mayoral race this half hour in our Decision 2025 coverage. Over on Flashpoint, Jason Colthorpe put together a group of insiders to talk about the candidates and where things stand heading into tomorrow's primary. Take a listen.
Joining me at the round table this morning, marketing and communications strategist from the firm with his name on it, Mario Moro, journalist and executive director of Outlier Media, Orlando Bailey, the assistant editorial page editor at the Detroit News, Caitlin Buss, and the editorial page editor at the Detroit Free Press, Nancy Caffer. Gang, good to have you with us this morning.
Thank you.
I mentioned a few moments ago the 1993 arrest of Solomon Kinlock, which just happened to pop up about a week and a half before the primary. Mario, I'll start with you. Do you think this moves the needle in any which way?
I think it actually helped him.
Really?
Because, you know, this is all about opposition and opposition research. You know, one of the other camps put it out there. It's obvious by way of Robert Davis, who I guess was dropping it off at every news outlet in America. But I think, he came out, he came clean, he talked about it. The congregation knew about it. All his fellow, the followers knew about it. But I think it improved because all the social media posts that I saw, most of them, not all, were in favor of like, wait, this was so many years ago. I mean, why are we talking about this? Talk about the issue. So I think it helped him in a way.
And part of his statement, Orlando, was just that I talk about this as a teaching moment with the congregation, but he also called it politricks. Would you agree with that term?
Well, no, all is fair in a game of politics, and you're running for the mayor of the city of Detroit. And so if you didn't figure out how to message that before in your campaign, somebody's going to help you message that in your campaign by revealing that. I think to Mario's point, there was a lot of support just for my scraping of social media, but also on my social media feed were former victims of domestic violence. And I think women in particular wanted to see him really acknowledge, come out, apologize, and move on, not blame it on politics, not blame it as a witch hunt for the journalists trying to go after him or attack him. It's a thing that happened. It's a truth that happened. Nobody lied. Face it, come out with it, and make sure you don't alienate certain people in your response.
Caitlin, agree?
I do think it maybe helped him. I think all things considered, he's run an impressive campaign for being, not a politician. And so I give him credit for not backing away from it and for kind of somewhat owning it, although I do appreciate the sensitivity to people who've gone through something like that. But I think, there's a redemptive message here, and it's worked for him. And so I don't think it'll have that much of a negative impact on him. I think the timing was more suspicious than probably helpful.
Sure.
Right. Yeah, pastor and redemption.
Yeah, that did seem quite a little hinky, to use a word that nobody uses.
I don't think that this is politricks. I mean, yes, of course, this came via an interesting route, but backgrounding candidates and letting voters know what they're about, what their track record is, good and bad, is part of our responsibility as journalists. So did this kind of, the gun get jumped here, the jump get gunned, whatever, yeah, sure, but this would have come out eventually. There's no way around that. This is a high-profile election for mayor of Detroit. I'd imagine that people who were firmly for Kinloch probably aren't swayed by this. People who weren't, were firmly for someone else, probably weren't swayed by this either. But there's still a lot of undecideds out there, I think. Let
me ask both of you. You guys each endorsed a different candidate this year. Nancy, let me start with you. The Freep endorsed Mary Sheffield. Why?
We got a chance to spend time with the top 6 candidates. They were all great conversations. I think we're really lucky to have a number of highly qualified people seeking this office this time around. This was a really tough choice. We had, again, there's several people in the race who I think would be fantastic as mayor. But Mary Sheffield really stood out to us. Her experience is very obviously relevant and fresh. She's council president. She does the work in connecting with the community. She has advanced. She's shown ability to advance ordinances and policies that are really good and strong for people, but also understanding that business drives Detroit and that the business community can't be just cut off. So we thought she had the right balance. She has the energy. She has the focus. She's a fresh new generation of leadership, and that's why we chose her.
Caitlin, was it tough to choose Santil Jenkins, which is who the news endorsed?
It was tough, like Nancy said, and we keep trying to find things we firmly disagree on, but it's a really great pool of people, and so we enjoyed spending time with all of them. We had a hard time coming to a decision, but we thought that her executive background combined with her legislative experience and kind of her lived experiences in Detroit qualified her pretty well for this position. We also liked her master plan for the neighborhoods and several of her other proposals. She takes homelessness very seriously, which was a big part of all our conversations. So we went with her.
Let me ask the gentleman, do endorsements matter? These weren't the only two, obviously. There were several this cycle.
Well, no offense, first of all, but I don't think that they matter as much as they used to. When people really read the papers and really followed the endorsement process. So we have the Detroit News endorsing one candidate. We have the Free Press endorsing another candidate. We have the Michigan Chronicle endorsing 2 candidates, pretty much. We have the UAW endorsing another candidate. The Black Slate endorsing another candidate. So they're all over the place. I don't believe anybody's going to get up Tuesday morning or before they open up their absentee ballot and say, oh, who did the news agencies endorse? No, that's not the way it works. But it helps with the candidates because the candidates can use this endorsement and flood the airwaves, whether it's social media, or whether it's a commercial, or whatever the case may be, and say, hey, look, I just got another endorsement. And that's what is helping them.
Geez, Mario, tough room. Former editorial page editor of the Free Press, Joe Stroud, who was the page editor there for a long time, used to say, free press endorsement is good for 10% of the vote, either way, which is not true anymore, right? We know that. We know that we're very polarized, we're very set in our ways. We don't have that kind of push-pull anymore. But what a good endorsement does isn't just say, you should vote for Mary Sheffield. It explains why we think you should vote for Mary Sheffield. It examines her track record in a way that the average person doesn't necessarily have time to do or inclination to do, isn't familiar with the systems of government and policy, can't really evaluate effectiveness. I mean, and again, because they have a different job and they're doing that full time, and this is what we do full time. And we're able to, in an endorsement, we explain our decision in a way that even if you don't agree with us, you should be able to walk away saying, well, I understand this and I don't agree with them, but I've refined my own opinion a little bit. Because they've demonstrated how they went through their decision-making process. And I will say, I start getting texts from folks as soon as absentees go out saying, who am I voting for?
All the time.
So, and our page view traffic does suggest that endorsements are some of the most popular opinion content. And so, again, we're not in the old days of being able to, completely turn something around. But I mean, I believe they matter.
But in the older days, you probably would have done a lot more vetting too, because of this whole Solomon Kinloch thing went out, and you mentioned that there should be, these types of things should come out, they have to come out. But has the media really done their research on all the candidates? Because I know that there's stuff out there on everybody who's running, and it hasn't come out.
Yeah.
They're being selective about what is printed and what is voiced for the people to hear.
Call me later.
And there still could be more to come out.
There still could be more. I mean,
yeah,
because we're only in the primary, and I think the general will see a lot more stuff come out. But I think, endorsements I think I draw the line where we have an electorate, and then we have folks who are registered to vote, right? And our electorate, the folks who are coming out to elections, is much smaller than the overall number of people registered to vote. And I think the electorate pays attention to stuff like endorsements from the Free Press and endorsements from the Detroit News, because these people are a bit more engaged. They're trying to figure out who they want to vote for. They're trying to figure out where these candidates stands on issues. As a journal, I'm always thinking about who the papers have endorsed. And I think this one, this go round, it's pretty historical. I don't know if the papers of record have endorsed women for this position before, right? I'm not certain. I'm asking, but I think it's a pretty historical update here.
Well, because it's such a small number, like you say, it means it could go any which way. Any little bit could move the needle. So before I end this segment, quick answer from everybody. Who's the, I guess, the lesser talked about candidate that might defy the odds that would surprise you, Mario?
Wow, that's a very good question. I think probably Todd Perkins would probably get some votes out there.
I don't underestimate Fred Durhall.
Kayla?
I'm going to go with Todd Perkins, although I agree a bit on Durhall.
Yeah, Durhall. He's got such a well-known name, and he's such a great elected public servant, elected official.
And he's running a good campaign too.
Yeah.
Well,
he is.
Let's discuss it all again when we're down to 2.
Great insight from the roundtable. In our next half hour, we're going to take a look at important issues in the rest of Wayne County, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Also, make sure you turn into Local 4's primary election coverage that kicks off tomorrow night. That's going to happen at 10 o'clock right here on air and streaming on Local 4 Plus. And then we'll bring you the latest results and have expert analysis throughout both of the shows at 10 and 11 o'clock on Local 4. The stubborn wildfire smoke is taking an extended stay, a vacation here over Metro Detroit. It will not leave, so we're taking a live look. You can see the hazy skies at over 696 there as you're looking in Southfield. Another hazy sunrise actually coming back with more air quality issues and the rest of your work week forecast. Welcome back, everybody. As we've been saying all morning long, air quality is an issue. In fact, to give you an idea of just how unhealthy the air is in Detroit right now compared to the rest of the country, take a look at this. This is a map from the government website airnow.gov that's showing the wildfire smoke coming in from Canada. And it's actually hard to see anything past Belle Isle this morning. Usually you could see the island actually out there and then further beyond that back into Canada. Right now, not so much. Ashley is here with a look at not only the air quality issues, but your forecast.
Now, forewarned weather with Exact Track 4D.
Well, we are entering day 6, day 7 of this wildfire smoke across southeastern Michigan, and throughout the morning, the smoke thick over Belle Isle. And so this is a comparison to what we were dealing with Sunday evening, same area, and you can just see the haze that we haven't been able to shake. This is a My Pic photo coming in from Caseville in Huron County. So Anna Mae sending in this photo of a very hazy sunshine and smoke filling the air in Belleville as well. Judy sending in this photo where you have that milky looking sky and the very red sun, which is giving that filter to the sun out there, and the polluted air sticking around. So fire and smoke map, this showing a lighter layer, but let me tell you, the air quality speaks a different tune. And so here right now across the Great Lakes, off towards the northern plains, up into the New England states, we're dealing with polluted air, and the air quality concerns get greater the farther north you go in southeastern Michigan. So Monroe, Adrian, moderate pollutants, but unhealthy for sensitive groups from Grosse Seal all the way up past Lapeer. And you get into the Thumb region, stretching down towards Port Huron, and that's unhealthy for all groups. And so we're still holding on to those pollutants throughout the day today. Southeast Michigan under that air quality alert through the day, and we'll have to wait and see if that gets extended, because as we look at model data, it looks as if we could get more of that smoke layer building in coming out of Canada. So that southwesterly flow pumping that in, and we'll hold on to that hazy sunshine. Belleville, well, you can see that we do have kind of just, you know, the clearer conditions out there, but we've had the color on the horizon. 83 degrees is going to be the afternoon high for today. So we'll be warming things up to more seasonal territory. An hour by hour look at what's ahead throughout, not just today, but the rest of the week. That's right. I mean, we don't have a drop of rain in sight. And so our next best chance of seeing some rain as of right now with the long range models, bringing that in Sunday evening. And even at that point, it's looking like it's just a slight chance. It's so far out that it's hard to lock into that. And so we came off of one of the wettest Julys that we've ever had on record, so we do need to dry things out a bit, but this long stretch throughout the work week will definitely have the sprinklers going so those lawns don't get crisp. So one extreme to another. Last week we had 2 record rainfalls in a week, and now we don't have a drop of rain in your 7-day forecast. Temperatures gradually do warm up day by day, so we get back above average by the time we get to the later part of the week and the weekend. Humidity's building back in, so we'll be flirting with 90 and certainly feeling warmer with the heat index.
All right, Ashley, thank you so much. In the next half hour, we're going to look at what else is on the ballot for Wayne and Washtenaw counties. And let's take a live look over at DTW this morning. And Romulus, look at the haze sitting all over the McNamara terminal. We'll be right back. Good morning, everybody. I'm Nick Monticelli. The woman accused of lying to police while they were trying to find a missing 17-year-old will be facing a judge in about 3 hours. Shella Pendergrass has a preliminary hearing today where the judge will decide if she should stand trial or not. Her charges are connected to London Thomas's disappearance after London was dropped off at her boyfriend's house. London's body was found in Southfield only a few weeks later. And over on Local 4 Plus, we are looking ahead to tomorrow's primary election, going over the big issues in Wayne, Washington, Oakland, and Macomb counties. Plus, a lot of questions have been coming out for a millage in Clinton Township. We're going to talk to the township supervisor and police chief about a possible $9 million cut if the millage is not renewed, and there's been some misinformation on social media. And what does Pontiac need in their next mayor? We're going to talk about concerns the community has and what they are hoping for. Ashley has your forecast when we come back here on Local 4 in just a minute.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Hey everybody, thank you for sticking with us here on Local 4 Live. I'm Nick Monticelli. By this time tomorrow, voters will be casting their ballots for key elections in their communities. Just like in Southfield, as we take a live look over that city, that's where Mayor Ken Seaver is trying to keep his office from two opponents, Sylvia Jordan and Ryan Foster. Now, there's so much more to get to before the polls actually open. This morning, we're trying to give you a voter's guide for tomorrow's primary, depending on where you live. This half hour, we're digging into Wayne County as you take a live look in Romulus at Metro Airport. People here are voting on a school bond proposal. The money there would be used to upgrade safety and technology and fix up the buildings. Now let's take a look at what else you're voting on in Wayne County. People living in Dearborn Heights, Taylor, and Hamtramck will be voting on a new mayor, and Hamtramck voters will also be weighing in on the city council. The current city council is the center of a lot of controversy. Multiple investigations are underway. The city councils and commissions are also up for votes in Westland, Taylor, Plymouth, and in Livonia. Let's stay in Livonia. Voters there will have a say on a $150 million bond proposal that would help build a new police station and library. The plan would cost the average homeowner about $12 per month for the next 25 years. This one has some critics. In fact, our Will Jones covered the debate over the bond last month.
Why no on this bond proposal?
This bond proposal is just too large for what they want to do.
Livonia resident Jim Biga has been among the most vocal critics of the Livonia-built bond proposal that includes building a new police station and library, renovating all fire stations, and creating a Central Park Plaza. The city says the $150 million bond would be paid over 25 years, costing the average homeowner less than $12 per month.
Quite frankly, everybody is tired of paying more and more in taxes.
Livonia City Councilman Robert Donovan counters that the bond proposal would save taxpayers money in the long run.
The number one thing that's been driving my driving force has been fiscal responsibility, making sure that we stop spending really good tax dollars on bad buildings that were built way too long ago and that are not built to today's standards. So I just want the residents to know that your council takes this very seriously.
Livonia resident Brian Quinn supports the proposal, citing potential benefits for the community and home values.
I think is good to invest in the city. We also live in proximity to where the proposed development would be, and I feel like it's going to be an increase in my home value.
Well, that was Will Jones reporting. The bond proposal is actually phase 3 of a 4-phase project that looks to revamp Livonia's Civic Center area. Phase 3 is the only one that requires raising taxes. Well, let's head to Northville, where the public school district there is asking voters to renew a sinking fund millage. Last month here on Local 4 Live, we caught up with R.J. Weber, the superintendent of Northville Schools. He talked about what the money would be used for.
So what a sinking fund is, really think of it as a rainy day fund for your house. We cannot use monies in a sinking fund or a bond to pay for anything but infrastructure. So things like safety, cameras for the district, roofs, parking lots. Imagine our high school alone is 400,000 square feet. So imagine your house.
Right.
And something comes up where, oh my gosh, you need a new roof. And then you look at your bank accounts, what do? Fortunately, our community has supported us since 2011 with the sinking fund. We have that renewal coming up on August 5th.
Okay, let's switch from Wayne County to Washtenaw County now. A live look at Ann Arbor, where you can barely see the big house because of all that haze. Here, people will be voting on a proposal to give property to the library for a new space. Now let's take a look at what else you're voting on in Washtenaw County. People living in Milan are voting for a new mayor and library board director. And in Ypsilanti Township, voters will be weighing in on a park commissioner and a bond proposal to provide money for community police services, park operation, and garbage collection. In our next half hour, we are focusing in on the races in Macomb County and chatting with the local police chief about a key millage happening there. And make sure you tune in to Local 4's primary election coverage. That starts tomorrow night, kicking off at 10 p.m. on air and streaming right here on Local 4 Plus. Then we're going to bring you the latest results and have expert analysis throughout both of the shows at 10 and 11 p.m. More news after the break. It's a conversation that most parents are not having when their kid goes to a friend's house, but it's one the state says is critical for their safety. I'm going to chat with the state's top health executive about the phone call or text or at least face-to-face conversation that could make all the difference before a play date. Welcome back to Local 4 Live. Unfortunately, this summer, a lot of kids have been shot. Some of those shootings were an accident. In fact, gun violence is the leading cause of death for kids right now. And while there are plenty of responsible gun owners, it is easy for kids to get a hold of a gun, especially if they are not stored properly. But how do you know what's happening in your kid's friend's house? Well, take a look at this map. This is from the Gun Violence Archive, showing the amount of shootings involving children between 2014 and 2024. As you can see, the color light up in the Detroit metro area. I think I'm having a hard time seeing it, to be honest with you. A recent U of M study showed 54% of parents have never asked other parents if there were guns in their home before letting their kids go there. So it could be an uncomfortable conversation, sure, but I do want to reiterate that there are plenty of people with guns that store them safe, and this really isn't a problem. But the number of parents reluctant to talk about this, that's the problem. So I talked to the leader of the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services to get some ideas on how to make these conversations just a little bit easier. Dr. Bagdasarian, thank you so much for joining us here. This conversation is one of those that, as all of us know, needs to happen, but is a difficult, uncomfortable one to happen. It shouldn't be, but it is. So I guess the state is trying to make it less icky. Is that a good way to put it?
Exactly. So, we have to recognize that gun violence is now the leading cause of death in our children. So children around the country and in our own state here in Michigan. Gun violence kills more children under the age of 19 every year than things like drownings and childhood cancers and motor vehicle accidents. So we've got to really raise awareness about how dangerous guns are when they are left unattended and unsecured around kids. And I think part of that is giving parents and other caregivers tools to start talking about this topic.
What's tough is that, I know you've said it before, you will ask other parents, are there weapons in the home? Are they secured? But what kind of reactions do you get? Like, I think some people are offended when that question is asked.
Well, everyone knows what their home situation is like. So everybody knows if they have weapons and how their weapons are stored. But what you don't know is when you're sending your kid to a sleepover or for a play date, what that other home situation is going to look like. And so I started when my son was younger, and when he started going over for play dates and sleepovers, I started asking questions about, do you have weapons in the home and are they securely stored? And people gave me odd looks, because I don't think this is a conversation that is happening very often. And in fact, there was a recent study done by the University of Michigan where they looked at Michigan families and whether they were aware about safe storage and whether they were having these conversations. And of the families that were aware that this was a topic that they should be asking about, only about a third of them were actually having the conversation. And I think it's because it has been uncomfortable. So people tend to avoid this topic.
What's your advice then? Do you kind of open it and say, I don't mean to offend you. I'm sure you are a responsible owner, but I have to ask the question for my own peace of mind?
I think that's a great way of framing it. And, if you're asking it of everyone and every single time, then it can't really be anything that someone is offended about you only asking them. It's just something we've got to destigmatize. And I think it's something we've got to talk about with other parents when our kids are socializing with their kids. It's also a topic we've got to talk about with our kids. And we've got to teach them that if they are in a situation where they come across something that looks like a weapon, they can't assume that it's a toy. They can't assume that it's unloaded. In fact, there was a recent study about a year and a half ago from the CDC where they looked at about 1,200 unintentional firearm injuries and deaths in children. And what they found was, especially in that youngest age group, the 0 to 5, 99% of those firearms were stored, loaded, and unlocked. And they looked at the circumstances around many of these injuries and deaths. And what they found is that where parents and other caregivers were storing these firearms were in places like the top shelf of a closet, or in a nightstand, or under a mattress. And we know that our kids are curious. We know that our kids are going to look around all these spaces. And they
Into everything.
find,
Yeah.
exactly, they know where weapons are. They can find these things. A lot of little ones assume that these weapons are toys when they find a weapon. Many of the older kids assumed that the weapons were unloaded and couldn't be fired. And those types of assumptions can lead to injuries and deaths.
I hope that by parents asking other parents these questions, it will also get some people, gun owners, to open their eyes and maybe store them more responsibly if they weren't.
Absolutely. I think everyone wants the best for their kids. Everyone wants the best for their communities. Nobody wants kids to be injured or harmed in any way. We all want the same thing. We're trying to prevent these types of injuries and deaths. And I just want people to know that there are tools out there. One tool is having conversations, destigmatizing some of these conversations, and we've got a little flyer here that you can actually pick up starting in August at any of the MDHHS county offices around the state, as well as free gun locks. They're very, very simple to use. And I just want to raise awareness that these tools exist because we all want the best for our kids. We all want to protect their safety, protect their lives and health. And these are some simple ways that we can do that.
Unlocks, as you mentioned, are very easy to use, right?
They're very easy to use. So they look essentially like a bike lock, and they go through the barrel of the gun, and you lock it. There's a little key, and you keep that key somewhere separate. Very easy to use. They come with instructions, and again, these are available for free. We're giving them away at all MDHHS county offices around the state. You can just stop in and pick them up, no questions asked. And it's one way to make sure that your kids or kids who are coming over to your house are safe.
Going back to the conversation with other parents, have you ever encountered a situation where somebody was kind of indignant about it and said, don't worry about it, it's fine? How do you press that? And when does it get to a point where you say, you know what, my son, my daughter, they're not going to be playing here if we can't be safe about this?
I've never been in a situation where someone has been indignant or upset about this. People have raised eyebrows when I bring this up. People have sort of said, I've never been asked that before, but no one has been upset. Now, I could imagine that you're in a situation where somebody could get offended, could get upset. And that's really what we want to avoid. We want to just make this a normal part of the conversation, just like, when you're having your kid ride in a car with someone, you might say, can you just make sure he wears a seatbelt? Yeah. Just as innocuous and normal as that. I think all of these conversations have to be managed on a case-by-case basis. There's not going to be a one-size-fits-all. But I'd love to just start normalizing this so that we're all asking each other about secure storage.
So then let's talk about the kids then. What are we telling our children about what to do if they do happen to find a gun?
So one of the things that I always tell my son is that if he is in another person's home and he sees something that looks like a gun, he cannot assume that it's a toy. Gun manufacturers are now manufacturing weapons that come in all kinds of bright colors. They might be neon pink, they might be neon orange. So a bright color or something that looks like it's plastic, you can't assume that it's a toy. And so going over to someone's house and finding something and then playing with it, assuming it's a toy, is one thing that we talk a lot about. Don't assume. If my son is going over to someone else's house, we've also talked about if you're finding something that looks like a weapon, and you're being told that it's not loaded. My family always keeps this unloaded. Again, don't assume that it's unloaded. Even if you check and it looks like it's unloaded, you don't know if there is, a bullet in the barrel. So I think making those kinds of assumptions and just handling all of these guns, look-alike guns, as though they are real is really important.
With some of the laws that have passed, are you seeing at least a minimal drop in accidental deaths?
I think it's going to take some time before we really see a reduction in those numbers. I think having laws out there are a first step. And I'm so glad that we have these types of laws, but we need to raise awareness. So we can have a law about safe storage, but if we're not raising awareness and people don't know what safe storage is, or they don't know how to securely store their weapons, then we're not doing folks any favors. So I think that we can pass all the laws we want to, but we've got to make sure that the education, the information, and tools like these gun locks are in people's hands to really make a change.
Just to highlight that, the information, the brochure, and more importantly, the gun lock, available free any county health department, right?
Any county MDHHS office.
Right.
Yeah. So there are lots of other places in the state that you can pick up free gun locks. Lots of pediatricians and other health systems are giving these away and also encouraging the conversations. This one I actually picked up at my local VA hospital yesterday, but they are also available at all the MDHHS county offices. And you can pick up a copy of this brochure starting in August.
So thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
What a great conversation that was. So we're going to get your headlines after the break, including why thousands of Boeing workers are walking off the job. Before we go to break, though, well, good morning to everybody out in Port Huron as some of those freighters roll through underneath that cloud of wildfire smoke haze down the St. Clair River. We'll be right back after a short break. Hey everybody, let's get to some of your top headlines here on Local 4 Live. We expect to learn more about a woman accused of killing a 3-year-old boy and hurting his mom and twin sister. Tammy Sandoval is charged for hitting the family with her car in June and then leaving the scene. Prosecutors say her license was suspended. Sandoval is due for a preliminary exam this afternoon. The judge will be reviewing the evidence against her. Today could be one of the last steps before a trial starts for the man accused of killing his teenage niece. Jarvis Butts faces multiple felonies in 13-year-old Naziah Harris's death. The teen went missing in 2024. Her body has never been found, but a judge ruled there is enough evidence for a trial. He's also facing charges for the sexual assault of an Allen Park girl in 2013. Left the state to prevent a vote to redraw the state's congressional map. President Trump has thrown his support behind the redraw. The proposal could possibly eliminate 5 Democratic U.S. House seats ahead of the 2026 midterms. Democrats' decision to leave the state Sunday temporarily blocks Republicans from moving forward with the plan. The Texas Constitution requires 2/3 of the state House present to do any kind of legislative business, meaning any kind of votes. Well, thousands of Boeing fighter jet workers have gone on strike after a labor agreement fell through. Overnight, more than 3,000 workers walked off the job across Missouri and Illinois. The union wants better pay and job security for skilled workers. Boeing offered a 40% pay increase, but the union rejected it. Boeing says it has a plan to keep work going even with its employees on strike. Well, I'm sure you might be feeling some deja vu when you see more hazy skies this morning. Keep the windows shut for anyone who has a hard time breathing. Ashley is tracking these air quality alerts when we come back. Well, take a look here. You can see signs of the Canadian wildfire smoke even at night. The moon looked a little more orange last night in Richmond. We got this from our MyPics page. Somebody submitted. That's how it works. You can always send us these photos on or pictures or videos under the MyPics tab on clickondetroit.com. Just scan that QR code there on your screen. We'll take it from there. You might even see it right here on Local 4 Live. Let's check in with Ashley about your forecast, because that live image tells you everything you need to know. Whether air quality is a problem, air quality because of all the wildfire smoke from Canada. Hey, Ashley.
Now, forewarned weather with Exact Track 4D.
Well, we are entering day 6, day 7 of this wildfire smoke across southeastern Michigan, and throughout the morning, the smoke thick over Belle Isle. And so this is a comparison to what we were dealing with Sunday evening, same area, and you can just see the haze that we haven't been able to shake. This is a MyPic photo coming in from Caseville in Huron County. So Anna Mae sending in this photo of a very hazy sunshine and smoke filling the air in Belleville as well. Judy sending in this photo where you have that milky looking sky and the very red sun, which is giving that filter to the sun out there, and the polluted air sticking around. So fire and smoke map, this showing a lighter layer, but let me tell you, the air quality speaks a different tune. And so here right now across the Great Lakes, off towards the northern plains, up into the New England states, we're dealing with polluted air, and the air quality concerns get greater the farther north you go in southeastern Michigan. So Monroe, Adrian, moderate pollutants, but unhealthy for sensitive groups from Grosse Seal all the way up past Lapeer. And you get into the Thumb region, stretching down towards Port Huron, and that's unhealthy for all groups. And so we're still holding on to those pollutants throughout the day today. Southeast Michigan under that air quality alert through the day, and we'll have to wait and see if that gets extended, because as we look at model data, it looks as if we could get more of that smoke layer building in coming out of Canada. So that southwesterly flow pumping that in, and we'll hold on to that hazy sunshine. Belleville, well, you can see that we do have kind of just, the clearer conditions out there, but we've had the color on the horizon. 83 degrees is going to be the afternoon high for today. So we'll be warming things up to more seasonal territory. An hour by hour look at what's ahead throughout, not just today, but the rest of the week. That's right. I mean, we don't have a drop of rain in sight. And so our next best chance of seeing some rain as of right now with the long range models, bringing that in Sunday evening. And even at that point, it's looking like it's just a slight chance. It's so far out that it's hard to lock into that. And so We came off of one of the wettest Julys that we've ever had on record, so we do need to dry things out a bit, but this long stretch throughout the work week will definitely have the sprinklers going so those lawns don't get crisp. So one extreme to another. Last week we had 2 record rainfalls in a week, and now we don't have a drop of rain in your 7-day forecast. Temperatures gradually do warm up day by day, so we get back above average by the time we get to the later part of the week and the weekend. Humidity's building back in, so we'll be flirting with 90 and certainly feeling warmer with the heat index.
Ashley, thank you so much. Much more ahead in our next hour as we continue to get you prepared for tomorrow's primary election all across Metro Detroit. Up next, a rundown of the races in Macomb County and a millage that is pivotal in Clinton Township as leaders there try to battle against some misinformation. And then we're going to go to Oakland County and chat with community stakeholders about a key mayoral race in Pontiac, and then a conversation about local force trade-up. We made a commitment to letting people know about all of the incredible opportunities in the skilled trades. Today, we're focusing on a Detroit nonprofit and the work they are doing in skilled trades, trying to fill some of those jobs. More news and weather in our next hour. Stay with us here on Local 4 Live.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Well, hey everybody, welcome back to Local 4 Live. I'm Nick Monticelli. We're dedicating today to getting you prepared for tomorrow's primary election. In our next hour, we're focusing on key races in Macomb and Oakland counties as we say hello to Southfield here. Then it's another hazy day in Metro Detroit with an air quality alert because of smoke coming from wildfires in Canada. If you have asthma or heart disease, experts say avoid doing too much outside today. Ashley will be in with your forecast in just a moment for your work week. Plus, it's time to trade up. We're chatting with the Detroit nonprofit about the unique job opportunities they're offering in the skilled trades. Well, let's start with Decision 2025. We have been your primary election guide all morning long. In our last hour, we talked about the Detroit mayoral debate and the ballots in Detroit, Wayne County, and Washtenaw County. Now, as we're looking live in Mount Clemens, we're going to focus on the big races in Macomb County. Voters in New Baltimore will pick which candidates will face off to become the next mayor. Then in Sterling Heights, there are 13 people vying to get on the city council there, and 4 different townships in northern Macomb County voting on a major proposal for Armada schools. The $12 million proposal will upgrade technology in the district and enhance safety and security. Residents in Armada, Bruce, Lenox, and Richmond townships will be voting on that. In Warren, voters will decide on a $42 million bond to support major projects, including building improvements, an outdoor learning area, and upgrading school technology at Warren Fitzgerald schools. And finally, in Clinton Township, residents there voting on a proposal for a millage aimed at maintaining current police funding levels or having funding cut by $9 million. Now, this millage has sparked a lot of questions because of the specific language and how it's written. Joining me to try to clear all this up is Clinton Township Supervisor Paul Gilliam and the police chief, brand new police chief, Preston Susala. Thank you guys for coming down to Detroit to talk about this.
Great to be on with you, Nick.
Yeah, there's been some confusion, and I've been saying all morning it's almost like social media misinformation, because my understanding, you tell me if I'm wrong, is that this is not an increase, it is a renewal, but a lot of people think it's an increase.
So there's specific language on the ballot that says an increase over 0. So it's a current millage. It was voter adopted at 2 different times. Okay. And now we're combining those 2 and asking to renew those. So it's the same rate that people are paying now, actually a little bit less because of a Headley rollback. Okay. But, you know, the confusion is based upon the way the state makes us place this on the ballot.
So because you are taking 2 millages and combining them, it looks at it and says because it's anything over 0, over a penny, you have to call it an increase.
Correct. Yes. And, you know, when I was in the state legislature, one of the things I did is to introduce a bill that says that all of the state laws had to be written in common language.
That didn't pass.
That didn't pass. So the language has I think, added a little bit of confusion, but also I think there's also an agenda here of people who, you know,
kind of twisting the knife a little bit, find a loophole to exploit.
Exactly. So our residents have overwhelmingly in the past always supported the Clinton Township Police Department. We're the largest township in the state of Michigan and the 7th largest community, so over 100,000 people. We need a police force that is going to be able to meet the needs and demands of that community.
Right. So, Chief, I don't want to go doom and gloom with you, but if for some reason this millage doesn't get renewed, I'm going to keep saying renewed here so people get it, a $9 million cut to you would be drastic.
Oh, it would be. It would significantly impact our police department.
What's your total budget now?
Our total budget's right around 30
Okay.
million.
So, I mean, you're looking at almost a third gone then.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Have you had to run some of the numbers or some of the scenarios looking at what units or what services you'd be cutting?
We haven't gone to those measures yet. Hopefully we don't have to.
Right.
So we're doing whatever we can to educate the public, to let them know what is at stake here.
Yeah, I hate to put you on the spot, but let's talk a doomsday scenario. I mean, you're looking at cutting a significant amount of officers, probably some different units. I mean,
correct.
Public safety, I don't want to say would be at risk. I don't want to say that, but it would look drastically different if you had to go this route.
Absolutely would, correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So what's your message then in terms of, this is only a Clinton Township issue, but realistically it becomes more of a Macomb County issue because there's a lot of mutual aid that happens between all the jurisdictions up there. So this could impact a lot more people.
Our folks in the Clinton Township Police Department are working with the Sheriff's Department. You know, they serve other communities. You know, no one really knows where the borders are of our respective communities.
Right.
So the reality is,
they have no idea where Groesbeck is at sometimes.
So I think the overall message is, voters have approved a rate. We've worked within that. We have 96 sworn officers. And that means about 8 to 9 in the community on any given point to make sure they can meet the demands of this
Which honestly, you
community
probably
our
could
size.
use more, to be honest with you.
There's no doubt about it. I mean,
Right.
but we've had to make do with the level that the voters have authorized. And now we're saying, hey, going out into the future, every millage has an expiration date on it.
Yep.
Do folks want to renew this and keep our police department services at the level that they're at?
Yeah. Not to put you on the spot, but the 2 millages that have been approved, when's the last time that they were approved?
So I know that one of them was adopted by the voters in 2013,
Okay.
and I think it was a 5-year. So I think 2018 was the last time that that one was approved.
Gotcha. Okay. So, but again, we're looking at things that have been in place for quite some time then.
Right. I mean, so basically, when people look at their tax bill, in the summer bill, township collects it, but we don't keep a penny of it. We distribute it to all of those, so schools, the county millage rate, a few other millages, all of those are on the ballot in the summer. We distribute those dollars, 100% of them, out to all of those other taxing authorities. The township's money comes in the winter collection. That's always the lesser of the 2 bills.
Right.
But it's police, fire, and general operations.
Okay.
General operations of the township is less than 1 mil. So everything that we do in the township that is not police, fire, or water and sewer, we do out of less than 1 mil.
Gotcha.
And so police departments and fire departments, 100% millage supported.
Okay. Now, is this one public safety or is this just police department?
This is the police department.
Just police
Fire millages were previously adopted, and they'll come up at the appropriate time.
Okay. Well, we can't let them have more money. I just want to talk a little bit about, again, I'm not trying to look at doomsday scenarios here, but I know you and your predecessors have spent a lot of time over the past several years looking at more proactive policing as opposed to reactively and getting out and doing things that help.
Correct.
I assume that, again, not trying to be a doomsday scenario here, but if we lost that money, all of that would go away. You'd probably become strictly reactive.
It would be very tough to be proactive when you don't have the resources to do it. We've taken steps to become an accredited police agency, which shows that we're operating under current best practices. Our officers are getting the training that they need to be successful and be supported. And like Supervisor Gilliam has said, we've always had a lot of support with the residents of Clinton Township with these past millages and renewals. So we're hoping that that continues. And we have taken steps. We have school resource officers. We have canine officers. We have a lot of proactive units within the department that we feel gives a lot of bang for the buck for our residents. And we hope to continue that.
And I would assume, again, tell me if I'm wrong, but I would assume that if things like that go away, we'd probably see crime rates increase.
I would think it would correlate.
Right. And again, I'm trying not to make this the burning Clinton Township story that it is, but you lose $9 million and there's going to be a problem.
Well, absolutely.
I think, police departments now are changing. The increase in technology, keeping pace with technology and that fast pace. Right. We have a drone unit. We've put a social worker.
To go on some of the calls.
To try to help with some of the recidivism rates.
Yep.
Things that go beyond police work, we want to be able to get people referred to the services that they can depend on, that can help on some of the underlying causes. So those are types of things that we're trying to do to be proactive, innovative, and serve our community to the best of our ability.
It's amazing. I can't fathom how much your job has changed over the past decade or so.
Oh. Exponentially has changed, just with technology, like Supervisor has said. With all the, we have officers with computers. The crimes that are utilizing computers nowadays takes up a huge amount of investigators' time. So those are also things that we have done to take innovative steps to help with controlling that problem as well.
Gotcha. Okay, one last question for you guys. Do you think that the majority of your residents understand this, or are you still, you're only a day away from election at this point, are you still actively trying to clear the air here that this is a renewal, not an increase?
I think we're always trying to clear the air, but we've been taking a lot of proactive steps, going door to door, knocking on voters' doors, explaining to them what the millage is, what the renewal is, what's at stake, to educate our residents to the best of our ability. And overwhelmingly, I've seen a positive response. And I think we've been able to get that message out, but we continue to do that for anybody because every vote counts.
Right. Any fears that this might not pass at this point, or is that kind of why you're here with us?
Well, look, no stone unturned, right?
Right.
We want to make sure that we communicate with everybody, all possible voters. Voting's a little bit different now because people get that absentee ballot mailed to them automatically
Right.
in every single election.
Right.
So that's a universe that might not have voted in the past. We need to get to all of those folks. So the police department, after hours, has been out there knocking on doors, mailing flyers, and trying to sort of go after some of the misinformation that we see on social media. Social media is a dynamic that has changed how elections are run.
And listen, social media can be your best friend and your worst enemy at the exact same time.
Absolutely.
I'm sure, in fact, it is a lot of times for both of you guys.
Indeed.
All right, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time to try to, help people understand what's actually happening, and especially those who haven't had an opportunity to vote yet and will be doing so tomorrow. Paul, Preston, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much. In the next half hour, we're going to focus on Oakland County. We're taking a look at the Pontiac mayoral race. Community leaders are going to help us understand what the city needs to do to kickstart their revitalization. And if you missed any of our coverage today, there's going to be a complete write-up on all the races over on our website at clickondetroit.com. There you'll find everything you need to know if you're heading out to the polls tomorrow. And make sure you tune in for Local 4's primary election coverage that starts tomorrow night. That kicks off at 10 o'clock, produced by our producer extraordinaire, Aaron Fleming. Then on air and streaming here on Local 4 Plus, we're going to bring you the latest results and have an expert analysis throughout the entire show. When we come back, we're going to talk about a dangerous drug being sold at several Metro Detroit gas stations and how easy it is to become addicted. Good morning, everybody. A substance that mimics opioids is available at gas stations. We've been talking about kratom, which can come in the form of pills, teas, powders, and gummies. It has 7-OH in it, which is extremely potent. Now the FDA is looking to regulate it. Priya Mann has been talking to experts in healthcare and law enforcement, and now we're hearing from someone who was addicted to it.
The man you're about to hear from reached out to us even before the first story on kratom aired. He had seen some promos and wanted to speak out. He says his addiction went from $10 a day to upwards of $150. Now, we're not showing his face to protect his identity, but the Oakland County man wanted to speak out because he says he's a dad and he feels that there's a lot of parents out there who have no clue about kratom or 7-OH.
If you see it, definitely stay away from it.
That blunt warning coming from an Army veteran who says he was addicted to kratom for 2 years.
It was all encompassing. It took over my entire life. I would wake up in the morning and chase the bottle all day until I fell asleep.
The single dad says his addiction started innocently enough. He was looking for relief from back pain and help with sleep issues.
In the beginning, I was going by the recommended dose of half a bottle and no more than a bottle a day. And at the end, I was up to 15 bottles a day.
Kratom is marketed as an herbal supplement. With no warning, it can mimic the effects of opioids and potentially be habit-forming. A derivative known as 7-OH is 40 times more potent. The substances are unregulated and available at smoke shops, party stores, and gas stations.
I would say if a child wanted to get it, it is not behind a counter. If they wanted to grab it and maybe slip it into their pocket, I'm sure they could.
Is that part of the reason you wanted to share your story?
Very much so. I don't want anybody else, any child, any person to have to go through this.
At first, he says Kratom helped with the pain and boosted his energy. But when he tried to get off it, he experienced symptoms of opioid withdrawal. When he went to the ER, doctors were dumbfounded.
It was very eye-opening that nobody knows what this stuff is. Even the doctors had a hard time treating me when I went in. They had to go back and look and try to look it up and find information on it.
What was it like getting off of it?
It was very hard. It was one of the hardest things I've ever had.
For weeks, he experienced convulsions, headaches, shaking, and vomiting. Now, 1 month sober from Kratom, he hopes others will learn from his experience. If you could go back, what would you do differently?
I would have never, ever have bought the first bottle.
And on a local level, there are efforts to regulate Kratom and 7-OH. There have been efforts in Warren and Clinton Township to get ordinances on the books. Now the FDA is looking at possibly reclassifying the substance. Most importantly, if you are in need of help, there are resources available, and we have that information up on clickondetroit.com. I'm Priya Mann, Local 4.
All right, Priya, thank you so much. Just into our newsroom, the search for the people who hit a motorcycle driver then took off. Detroit police sent us this photo of a car they say is involved. They say the driver turned off of Grand River onto Hubble last Tuesday, hitting a 34-year-old man on a motorcycle. In fact, you can watch video right now. The video shows the driver and a passenger getting out of the car to check out the damage, walking over to the victim, and then they just take off. Police say the motorcyclist was seriously hurt. The suspect was driving a gray or gold Chevy Malibu. It probably has some damage on the front driver's side. There is a $1,000 reward for information that leads to an arrest. Detroit police are working hard for answers and solutions after the number of recent shootings have alarmingly increased. Over the last week, we have reported at least 8 shootings involving kids and teens. The community is also working hard to make change themselves. Neighbors went door to door over the weekend asking for tips about a teen shot at Martin Luther King Apartments in July. Organizers say the effort is to put an end to the violence that can only be accomplished by working together.
It's community groups like Reverend Shabazz and block clubs that help us get the information we need and build the bridges so we can solve the crimes and make the area safer.
We understand people being scared is with good reason, but that does not solve the problem. We've got to tell.
Well, if you or somebody you know has information about that apartment shooting or any other shooting, call Crime Stoppers. The number is 1-800-SPEAK-UP. You can remain anonymous. Well, let's take a live look at 696 over in Oakland County. You are paying less to fill up your gas tank this week. AAA is saying gas prices in Michigan are down an average of 10 cents from a week ago. So it's about $3.13 per gallon now. It's going to cost about $46 for a full 15-gallon tank of gas, depending on how big your tank of gas is. Ann Arbor and Metro Detroit do have some of the most expensive prices in all of the state, though. Let's take a live look at the White House this morning, where President Trump says he is planning to name a new commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. This coming after the president fired the previous commissioner last week after issuing July's job numbers. She said the economy only produced 73,000 jobs, which was much lower than predictions thought. Trump made unfounded claims the head was manipulating the employment numbers for political purposes. Trump added the replacement announcement is set to happen in the coming days. Well, when we're back, we're going to talk about the massive wildfire that has left thousands of acres in California scorched and many people evacuated. Well, this morning, crews are working to contain a dangerous wildfire over in Southern California. Experts saying the flames have burned about roughly 50,000 acres. This time-lapse video shows plumes of smoke above Santa Barbara over the weekend. CAL FIRE says several zones in the counties are under evacuations and warnings. The U.S. Forest Service said Saturday at least 3 people were hurt. Speaking of, we're also seeing the aftermath from some Canadian wildfires here at home today because of really bad air quality. Ashley?
Now, forewarned weather with Exact Track 4D.
Well, we are entering day 6, day 7 of this wildfire smoke across southeastern Michigan, and throughout the morning, the smoke thick over Belle Isle. And so this is a comparison to what we were dealing with Sunday evening, same area, and you can just see the haze that we haven't been able to shake. This is a My Pic photo coming in from Caseville in Huron County. So Anna Mae sending in this photo of a very hazy sunshine and smoke filling the air in Belleville as well. Judy sending in this photo where you have that milky looking sky and the very red sun, which is giving that filter to the sun out there, and the polluted air sticking around. So fire and smoke map, this showing a lighter layer, but let me tell you, the air quality speaks a different tune. And so here right now across the Great Lakes, off towards the northern plains, up into the New England states, we're dealing with polluted air, and the air quality concerns get greater the farther north you go in southeastern Michigan. So Monroe, Adrian, moderate pollutants, but unhealthy for sensitive groups from Grosse Seal all the way up past Lapeer. And you get into the Thumb region stretching down towards Port Huron, and that's unhealthy for all groups. And so we're still holding on to those pollutants throughout the day today. Southeast Michigan under that air quality alert through the day, and we'll have to wait and see if that gets extended, because as we look at model data, it looks as if we could get more of that smoke layer building in coming out of Canada. So that southwesterly flow pumping that in, and we'll hold on to that hazy sunshine. Belleville, well, you can see that we do have kind of just, the clearer conditions out there, but we've had the color on the horizon. 83 degrees is going to be the afternoon high for today. So we'll be warming things up to more seasonal territory. An hour by hour look at what's ahead throughout, not just today, but the rest of the week. That's right. I mean, we don't have a drop of rain in sight. And so our next best chance of seeing some rain as of right now with the long range models, bringing that in Sunday evening. And even at that point, it's looking like it's just a slight chance. It's so far out that it's hard to lock into that. And so we came off of one of the wettest Julys that we've ever had on record, so we do need to dry things out a bit, but this long stretch throughout the work week will definitely have the sprinklers going so those lawns don't get crisp. So one extreme to another. Last week we had 2 record rainfalls in a week, and now we don't have a drop of rain in your 7-day forecast. Temperatures gradually do warm up day by day, so we get back above average by the time we get to the later part of the week and the weekend. Humidity's building back in, so we'll be flirting with 90 and certainly feeling warmer with the heat index.
All right, Ashley, thank you so much. A live look in New York in just a moment here. When we come back, we're going to talk about some national headlines. You can even see some wildfire smoke over there. Also, a judge is going to rule and make some interesting discussions on what's happening with the Sean Diddy case. A judge actually being asked to release Sean Diddy Combs. Welcome back to Local 4 Live. A live look in New York right now where a judge is being asked to free rapper Sean Combs while he waits sentencing. CNN is reporting his ex-girlfriend Gina Huen wrote a letter to the judge saying she does not believe Combs is a danger to the community and said he is a committed family man who has not been violent in many years. She initially was going to testify against Combs in his sex trafficking and racketeering trial but dropped out of the case. Prosecutors want him to remain behind bars. They argue he is a flight risk and because of his violent past poses a danger to others. Combs is set to be sentenced in October. Meanwhile, another rapper is in trouble with the law. Soulja Boy is behind bars after police arrested him over the weekend during a traffic stop. Police say a search of the vehicle during that stop showed the singer had a gun, and police later booked him on a felony charge. It's unclear what prompted the initial traffic stop, though. The arrest comes months after a jury ordered him to pay nearly $4 million to a former assistant who claimed in a civil suit that Soulja Boy sexually assaulted her. The U.S. government will soon stop sending out paper checks for federal payments, including Social Security beneficiaries. The government says it comes in an effort to fully modernize federal benefit payments, save money, and fight financial fraud. Experts say more than 500,000 recipients will now need to choose another way to receive their Social Security benefits, either direct deposit or a prepaid debit card. That change is set to start on September 30th. Well, so much more for you in our next half hour of Local 4 Live. When we come back, we're going to talk about everything Oakland County that you need to know ahead of tomorrow's election. We're back in 90 seconds.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Local 4 Live. I'm Nick Monticelli. Thank you so much for watching. Today is a voter's guide edition of Local 4 Live. This half hour, we're talking all about Oakland County with two key mayoral elections happening. A live look in Southfield right now, where there's two candidates trying to unseat the mayor, who is a 10-year incumbent. The top two vote getters will move on to the general election in November. And then in Pontiac, you've got 8 candidates running for mayor in that northern Oakland County community. The current mayor is leaving his post and running for Congress. This comes as the FBI investigates a former mayor and some city council members. Pontiac City Council is up for election as well. The city of Novi is asking voters for a $120 million bond proposal to fund a new police and fire station. And Lyons Township and Novi Township can all weigh in on the Northville Public Schools Sinking Fund. We talked about that in our last hour. Let's get back to that Pontiac race now for a minute. 8 candidates looking to take the top job for that city. Here are all the candidates. We've got Gil Garrett, Mike Collins Sr., Mike McGinnis, Alexandria Riley, Deirdre Waterman, Kermit Williams, Wendell Woods, Sabrina Lekay-Jernigan, all. So we couldn't get all 8 of them. There's just too many. So instead, we got somebody better. We've got Renee Blunt here. She is a resident of the East Side in Pontiac, very involved in a lot of community things, an advocate for the city, well known in the Pontiac area. So we wanted to have you on to get your take on things. The city of Pontiac, first of all, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
The city of Pontiac is starting this revitalization that is much needed, long overdue.
Long overdue. Yes.
I think the demolition of the Phoenix Center is a good start, and Oakland County office is moving there. We should see some trickle effect from that happening. But in terms of the city, what do you think are some of the key priorities that need to happen that this next mayor needs to focus on?
Infrastructure.
Okay.
For one, the streets are terrible. We need more of our streets getting paved and getting done. We need to open up the recreational centers.
Okay.
So more youth can have places to go for recreational activities.
Okay.
And we need more businesses coming in so that we can get more taxpayer money, of course. More tax money. And
How are the property taxes in Pontiac?
the property taxes aren't bad in Pontiac. I don't have any problem with the property taxes per se in Pontiac. They're not bad unless you don't pay your water bill and your taxes go up.
Sure, then it becomes a problem.
Yeah, things like that.
So I know attracting new business is going to be key. Not only in terms of a vibrant community, but as you mentioned, to have a stronger tax base.
Yes.
I know you've got friends in the business community, and some people have tried to open businesses. Is Pontiac a new business-friendly community?
Yes, we are a new business-friendly community because things are going to be picking up in Pontiac, especially when we get the right person in office.
In office, right. Now, what does that mean, though, in terms of but what does the right person bring to the table in terms of trying to cut some of that red tape to open a new business?
Right. We need to be able to get to the movers and shakers.
Yeah.
We need to be able to get through to people that want to come to Pontiac and rebuild things here in Pontiac. And we got to make it plausible for people to come here, to come to Pontiac.
Not necessarily easy, but at least an easier path to success.
Yes. So, we got to make people want to come and see what Pontiac is about. And starting downtown is one of the major places that we need to start.
Now, we're looking at video from the city of Pontiac. There are some areas that are just beautiful. Some areas that obviously, blight has taken over and consumed.
Yes.
Is there a collective frustration, or is there more a collective sense of optimism with residents, or maybe a mix of both?
I think a combination of both.
Okay.
And I think with the right person in office, we got a lot of optimism. And I think majority of the candidates that are running are good and decent people and can help this city.
Okay.
But one person is only going to make it, and that one person has to be the person that's going to bring businesses here, make Pontiac be plausible for people to come in. So we just need the right person.
So without endorsing a candidate, because that's not what this show is for here, but what qualifications or characteristics are the people of Pontiac looking at in a mayor?
Well, I think they need to first be politically sound. I think
somebody who knows how to get things done. Is that what you mean?
Somebody that knows how to get things done. Grew up in the city of Pontiac, so they know what we need. We don't need anybody coming from the outside saying, "Oh, this is what you need," but you have only been in Pontiac for X amount of years.
Sure, right.
So we need somebody.
An insider.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely an insider. Somebody that knows what we need. Somebody has a good eye on where we're going and where we need to go.
Okay. Do you think that this race is going to be a determining factor in Pontiac's success?
I think so. This is a very, very important race, and like I said, I feel like the majority of the candidates are qualified. They're qualified, but we got to definitely have the right one in office.
I mean this question with no disrespect, so please take it that way.
Oh, no problem.
Pontiac has often been described as an armpit of Oakland County.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's very frustrating for people there.
Yes, it is. Yes, 'cause we're the county seat.
Right. You've got all the offices and everybody there.
We got everything in Pontiac, but we're like the bottom of the pit.
Right. So in terms of image,
Yes.
What do you think needs to happen for people to say, wait a minute, Pontiac, while it has some rough areas, while there has been some blight, which is identical to Detroit in that story, right? In fact, many people have said that Pontiac sometimes suffers because Detroit has had this beautiful resurgence and Pontiac gets left behind.
Right, we got left behind,
Right.
right? And so I think we need more help from the state. And if we can get some federal funds, more federal funds coming in to the city of Pontiac, that's the type of mayor we need. We need a mayor that can reach out to the federal government, a mayor that can reach out to the state government and say, look.
Find all the pots of money, right?
This is where we need you to come and see our city. As you know, we had the Silver Dome, now the Silver Dome is gone. Right. And then right there, just outside of Pontiac, we had the Palace, and it's gone. Yep. So, I mean, you know, but we do have Amazon. Yep. We have M1. Yep. And we have UWM. So those are three extremely large businesses.
And UWM moving their facilities there is a big testament to not only the type of community that Pontiac can be, but the workforce available.
Exactly, and we have more land where businesses can build. Right. So, and I'm so grateful to those companies for coming because they are employing Pontiac residents. Right. And so we need more businesses that are going to employ more Pontiac residents so that they'll be able to have a living wage.
Yeah. Well, Renee, I can't thank you enough for taking your time to help us kind of understand what the city needs. This has been a great conversation.
Well, I thank you.
And I'm sure you're going to be watching the race tomorrow very intently to see who's winning.
For sure. Matter of fact, I got to go vote because I don't do absentee ballot unless I know I'm going to be out of town.
So are you an early voter or a day of voter?
I'm a day of voter.
Get in there, right? You want to get your sticker.
And get my sticker and say, I voted.
There you go. Okay. Renee, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Appreciate you for having me.
Well, if you missed any of our coverage today, we have a complete write-up of all the races in Wayne, Macomb, and Oakland counties up on our website at clickondetroit.com. There you'll also find everything you need to know if you're heading out to the polls tomorrow. And make sure you tune in for Local 4's primary election coverage tomorrow night. That kicks off at 10 on air and streaming right here on Local 4 Plus. We're going to bring you the latest results and have expert analysis just like Renee throughout all of our shows. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the stock market and the effects from last week's tough close on today's market. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Let's take a live look at the board right now. The market's opened at about 10, 11 minutes ago. You can see not a whole lot of change. Yesterday's board, though, was difficult. Friday's closing numbers where weak labor data and sudden tariff announcements triggered a major sell-off. The Dow ended down 1.2%. NASDAQ ended down 2.2%. S&P 500 closed down 1.6%. We're going to keep an eye on the board as things change throughout the morning here on Local 4 Live. Happening right now in court, or should say coming up soon, the final hearing before the trial begins for a man police say killed his niece. We're talking about the death of 13-year-old Naziah Harris. Her alleged killer, Jarvis Butts, is facing multiple charges after Harris's body went missing in 2024. Butts also faces several charges for the sexual assault of an Allen Park girl in 2013. If convicted, Butts could spend the rest of his life in prison. Meanwhile, in just under 2 hours, the woman accused of lying to police while they were trying to find a missing 17-year-old is set to go before a judge. A preliminary hearing is scheduled today for Charlotte Pendergrass. The judge will decide if she should stand trial or not. Her charges are connected to London Thomas's disappearance after London was dropped off at her boyfriend's house. London's body was found in Southfield only a few weeks later. We'll let you know what the updates are when the decisions are made. Let's take a live look in St. Louis right now. That is just one of the places where Boeing workers are on strike today, if we can get to that live picture, after failing to reach an agreement on a labor contract. Well, yesterday, over 3,000 members of the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers voted to reject the latest 4-year contract with Boeing that led to today's strike in St. Louis, St. Charles, and elsewhere. Boeing says the rejected contract would have raised the average wage by roughly 40% and included a 20% general wage increase, as well as more vacation and sick leave. Well, Democratic lawmakers are out of Texas and on their way to several parts of the state today. They're on their way to prevent a vote on the Republican effort backed by President Donald Trump to redraw the state's congressional map. The proposal could possibly eliminate 5 Democratic U.S. House seats ahead of the 2026 midterms. However, that decision to leave the state temporarily blocks Republicans from moving forward on a plan by denying them a quorum. Okay, Ashley is here with a look at your forecast, which is very hazy. Ashley?
Now, forewarned weather with Exact Track 4D.
Well, we are entering day 6, day 7 of this wildfire smoke across southeastern Michigan, and throughout the morning, the smoke thick over Belle Isle. And so this is a comparison to what we were dealing with Sunday evening, same area, and you can just see the haze that we haven't been able to shake. This is a My Pic photo coming in from Caseville in Huron County. So Anna Mae sending in this photo of a very hazy sunshine and smoke filling the air in Belleville as well. Judy sending in this photo where you have that milky looking sky and the very red sun, which is giving that filter to the sun out there, and the polluted air sticking around. So fire and smoke map, this showing a lighter layer, but let me tell you, the air quality speaks a different tune. And so here right now across the Great Lakes, off towards the northern plains, up into the New England states, we're dealing with polluted air, and the air quality concerns get greater the farther north you go in southeastern Michigan. So Monroe, Adrian, moderate pollutants, but unhealthy for sensitive groups from Grosse Seal all the way up past Lapeer. And you get into the Thumb region stretching down towards Port Huron, and that's unhealthy for all groups. And so we're still holding on to those pollutants throughout the day today. Southeast Michigan under that air quality alert through the day, and we'll have to wait and see if that gets extended, because as we look at model data, it looks as if we could get more of that smoke layer building in coming out of Canada. So that southwesterly flow pumping that in, and we'll hold on to that hazy sunshine. Belleville, well, you can see that we do have kind of just, you know, the clearer conditions out there, but we've had the color on the horizon. 83 degrees is going to be the afternoon high for today. So we'll be warming things up to more seasonal territory. An hour by hour look at what's ahead throughout, not just today, but the rest of the week. That's right. I mean, we don't have a drop of rain in sight. And so our next best chance of seeing some rain as of right now with the long range models, bringing that in Sunday evening. And even at that point, it's looking like it's just a slight chance. It's so far out that it's hard to lock into that. And so we came off of one of the wettest Julys that we've ever had on record, so we do need to dry things out a bit, but this long stretch throughout the work week will definitely have the sprinklers going so those lawns don't get crisp. So one extreme to another. Last week we had 2 record rainfalls in a week, and now we don't have a drop of rain in your 7-day forecast. Temperatures gradually do warm up day by day, so we get back above average by the time we get to the later part of the week and the weekend. Humidity's building back in, so we'll be flirting with 90 and certainly feeling warmer with the heat index.
All right, Ashley, thank you so much. When we come back, we're talking to some experts from Focus Hope and the importance of skilled trades in Michigan as a part of our Trade Up program. Welcome back to Local 4 Live, everybody. If you haven't heard, Local 4 is committed to highlighting the path to success that come through the skilled trades. You can look for all of our stories in the Trade Up section across all of our platforms on clickondetroit.com, streaming here on YouTube and Local 4 Plus. We're going to show you how to get started. Today, we're going to talk to the workforce specialist from Focus Hope. This is Tasha Lord. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting us.
So skilled trades obviously incredibly important, right?
Yes.
And we're finally getting the conversation started that, you know, 4-year degrees are not absolutely necessary.
Right.
You don't have to if you don't want to. Or if you want to have a great career without going that path.
Yes.
You were saying that Focus Hope offers a ton of training and you don't spend a dime on it?
We never charge our students a dime. In fact, we offer a ton of supportive services while they're at Focus Hope.
Okay.
They get a financial coach, they get a job coach. Most of our students will get a stipend while they're in the program to help with program-related expenses.
Okay.
You know, our thought is opportunity changes everything.
Yeah,
So
right.
if people have a will, we hope to find them a way, one way or another.
Okay, so I know, you know, the show's only about 11 minutes left at this point, so you can't go through everything, but kind of give me a list of all the different jobs.
Absolutely. Our programs that we have, our programs can lead to a lot of different jobs.
Yeah.
So advanced manufacturing is, of course, our flagship program that we kicked off in the 80s. It's gotten a lot more advanced since then, as you can imagine. We have an IT developer program, an IT tech program, medical assisting, construction, tree trim academy, CDL logistics and transportation.
Okay.
I don't think I'm missing one, but that's what we have going on just now.
But those are the big umbrellas. Like there is,
Yes.
you know, once you get inside there are thousands of different job opportunities.
Absolutely. You can go a lot of different ways. And like I said, we do job placement for all of our students, so they get a lot of good coaching from their team.
What's the demand? What are you hearing from employers in terms of what they're looking for and how quickly we can place somebody into a job?
Absolutely. And we work with employers constantly. We have a lot of partnerships with employers. You know, our goal is to get folks placed within 60 days of graduation.
Okay.
It usually happens a lot sooner. Lately, we have that partnership with the Carpenters and Millwrights Union. Folks haven't even been able to completely finish the program
before they've got a job.
They're already making $25 plus, if you can believe it, like right out of the program. So it really depends on what's going on with the economy, but it's been really awesome.
When you and I were growing up, you don't have to say how old you are. You know, it was kind of drilled into us that if you want to make a good livable wage and you know, good live and you know, make 6 figures or more, you had to get the degree.
Yes.
I don't think. I mean, you can make 6 figures in skilled trades.
Yes, you can. It's so gosh. So I have some students that come out of 15-week programs that literally make more money than I do with my bachelor's degree. But it's wonderful to see. You know, it's wonderful to see.
If someone's watching this and saying, okay, I want to make the switch, I want to take that leap, can they come to you?
Please do.
Okay. What's the process like?
The first step is to fill out an application for training. You can find that on the website, or if you want to connect with someone before you fill out an application, you can call the admissions line or email the admissions line. You can find it all on the website at focushope.edu.
Okay.
And then once you fill out the application, we review it. Sometimes we need to chat with you about a few points.
Sure.
The next step for everyone is math and reading testing to see where your levels are to make sure that you're going to be successful in the program.
I see. So there is some kind of requirement.
There is, but if you don't make it, we help you get tutoring.
So you can't make it, okay.
So so it's not like you're done, one and done.
Right.
We try to find a pathway for you.
How many success stories have you had?
Oh my God, a zillion.
Yeah.
So we've been going, like I said, since the 80s. So that's, that's as long as I've been alive. You know, 40 plus years.
Right.
So many success stories. I mean, every single class that we graduate, it's just incredible.
That's
so.
Great. Are there any industries that are more in demand right now?
More in demand right now. It's like everything we do is really like we have to be able to get someone a job like right away.
Okay.
Or we won't do the program.
Oh, okay.
So, it's kind of
almost
hard.
everything is in demand right now.
Everything that we do is like, we desperately need it.
That's incredible.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm just curious, and we don't have to spend much time on it, but how are you funded? Like, if this is all free, who's paying for you guys?
Yes. So we call it braided funding.
Okay. Meaning it's all mixed together somehow,
It's all mixed together, kind of like how a lot of universities do stuff.
Sure.
So, of course, we have a lot of private philanthropic donations that come through either with supportive services or to help with their programs.
Okay.
We have a lot of industry partnerships. So like Magna, Ford Motor Company, Great Lakes Water Authority, who help fund our programs, DTE. And then we have a lot of state and federal. So it's like we just weave it all together and make it work. Sometimes this is a little higher and this is, so we make it work throughout all the opportunities that we have.
It's unbelievable that you've got some of these employers who basically are paying for these training programs because that's what they need.
Yes, because they desperately need these positions filled fast. Like with DTE, I mean, that's something that like we need line clearance tree trimmers.
They got to get the power turned back on as fast as they can.
Period. So. Yep.
Okay, one more time. I know you said it again, the website, how do I apply?
It's focushope.edu.
Okay.
Just go ahead and go to the job training page and then scroll down, hit the application. It'll probably take you 5 minutes to fill out.
Gotcha.
And then a specialist will get a hold of you and we'll talk through your goals and how to, move on to the next step.
That was my next question. Is there somebody that can kind of help guide me towards the next career, what my skills might be best suited for?
Absolutely. And actually, we do that through the admissions process, during the program and during the placement process.
Oh,
so
okay.
You're getting a lot of support from this. I'm a specialist, so from the specialist team and also through the job coaches. We have a lot of degrees and certifications and resources to help with guiding students and prospective students towards what might be a good fit for the lifestyle that they want long term.
Sure, got it. Okay, Tasha, thank you so much. It was a pleasure meeting you.
It's my pleasure.
Take care of yourself. Thank you. Okay, Local 4 is actually partnering with Carhartt as we highlight all of these trade-up stories. It's all about shining a light on new opportunities. We actually want your story ideas, and you can nominate people making a difference in these fields. Just scan that QR code there on your screen, or you can do the same thing by going to clickondetroit.com/trade-up. When we come back, we're going to check in with Tati from Live in the D to see what's happening in their show today, which I'll give you a little hint, has something to do with a renowned, really great jazz artist right here from Detroit. Welcome back, everybody. So much more to come here throughout the day on Local 4. Tati from Live in the D is here to talk to us about what's coming up. I saw the promos for it today. Yes. I'm super excited about Kimmy Horn.
Kimmy Horn is a legend. She is phenomenal. It's Monday, so that means it's Music Monday time. So she will be on the show telling us about the Kimmy Horn Jazz Festival, which is actually celebrating its 10th year this coming weekend.
Did I hear correctly some new music is dropping?
Yes. New song. You'll hear it today.
Very cool.
You know, Kimmy Horn has this energy that is just unmatched.
Oh, gosh, I know. And just her voice and the way it blends, but I love it.
She's a legend.
So good.
She's a legend.
I know.
So also, I have a question for you.
Oh, boy.
This is our What's the Buzz topic.
Okay.
Would you want AI to conduct a job interview for you? Because that is what's happening at a lot more companies.
No, absolutely not.
It's weird, right?
There's so much nuance in a job interview that a robot won't pick up on, right?
That's what we're saying. That's what I think. But we're going to have a conversation about it. That's going to be actually our couch club question for today.
Your hair is, there you go.
Oh, is it hitting the mic?
Yeah, they were very upset back there.
Sorry. Sorry, everyone. Sorry about that. But no, Live in the D is going to be so much fun today. My guest host this week, as Kim is still on maternity leave, is Dave Mishevitz. He's a comedian.
Okay.
He's hilarious, has the best dry humor you'll ever see.
Really?
How
do you get a word in when you have comedians as your co-hosts?
Actually, comedians are excellent co-hosts.
Really?
Because they know the whole dance, the back and forth, the working together. You know who else is really good? Athletes.
Oh.
And radio people, because they know how to work as a team.
So who's really bad?
No, I can make anyone look good.
She would say the Local 4 live host.
No, I will make anyone look good. You come on there with me, you're going to look good.
When is Kim coming back?
I don't know exactly, but we're going to be.
We shouldn't rush it, right?
We shouldn't rush it. I want her to enjoy her time. But what I'm looking forward to is a check-in with her next week.
Oh, really?
So she's going to introduce the world to the brand new baby, and we're going to see how she's doing. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, that's a good conversation today.
Yeah.
AI for job interviews and Kimmy Horn.
Yes.
Don't miss Live in the D starting in 1 hour 1 minute and 30 seconds from now, right?
You're so precise.
There's a big clock in front of me.
There you go.
We always have the news live on clickondetroit.com, here on Local 4 Plus, and on the app. If you're leaving us, make it a great day. Enjoy your Monday, everybody.